Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, Season 1, Episode 10. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Marvel Plus, the podcast devoted to all things MCU. My name is Brett Scott. I am your host, and this, my friends, is the show. And it's a fantastic show today because we've made it to the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man finale. And we're bringing back a guest from episode 2. We made a lot of predictions together. Ryan Sainio, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, it has been a whirlwind. Thank you for having me back. I had to do like a mini marathon. I had actually do 2 marathons. I did just watch 3 episodes at one point, and then had to marathon the last 2 episodes for this. But it's been a very quick show, that's for sure.
Yeah, as we were talking before we started, but they condensed, what would be 10 weeks, 10 episodes into just 4 weeks, 1 month, and that's we've never had that with the Disney Plus shows before. We've definitely had 6 weeks shows before. But other than the one series that was released all at once, I don't think we've had no, What If? They did the What If episode by episode.
But
I got to say,
day to day, right?
Yeah, I got to say, I like this format better than the What If format, though, just because it gives me a little more time to digest and then, record and talk about it. Because, one a day is just crazy. That's madness. I like it, though. Over the holiday season, it's kind of cool to wake up to a new one every day. But this 2 or 3 episodes at a time schedule, this is pretty cool. I kind of dug it.
Yeah, and I don't precisely remember all of the called shots that we made in the last episode, but I remember going to watch the next episode and being like, oh, some of it's already happening. I was very tempted, but I was like, I don't know how current he was, because obviously we were both current to that episode we're talking about. I was like, I don't know when he's going to watch the next episode, so I can't message you and be like, it's happening, because it was just going to be a spoiler for you. But a lot of things like Daredevil, Dr. Octopus, other things was like, oh yeah, this was a lot of things that you probably called more than I did, because I don't know that I did as much of I wonder what's going to happen. I bet this is going to happen. But it was a wild ride.
I feel like my really big prediction did not happen, though, and that was Kingpin. I was saying that Kingpin was behind everything. He could be two seasons down the road, but as of right now, they're not showing that hand. So I think I was wrong on that one, but I did call Daredevil coming, and I think you called Lonnie would become Tombstone.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of stuff did happen that we predicted, but I got to say, episode 10, I did not see coming at all, and it blew me away, dude. It was like, I can't believe they just did this on Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, a show that no one seemed to care about before it came out. But I did see it growing in popularity week by week as it was out, because people started to pick up on this story and these characters, and they did this show right, man. They did really well with this show.
Yeah, and going back and thinking about it, I'm like, I loved that first fight with actually every fight against the Scorpion was good, but that first fight was great. I love the twist on everything when Osborn's like, with great power comes great respect. I'm like, that shows the tonal difference between Osborn and Uncle Ben or Aunt May, depending on whatever version. And then also something that dawned upon me as I was watching the last episode was, oh, actually, we're still in the Civil War era of the Divergent timeline. So I'm not saying that Thanos is coming, but Thanos is still a thing that hasn't happened to these people yet. Not to mention stuff that happens near the end of the episode as we get into the Return of the King level endings.
Yeah, it was. Look, man. Yeah, with the way they had to basically leave us a cliffhanger for every single storyline at the end there. It was amazing. Not only the big twist at the end of the end is the beginning and the beginning is the end, and the whole Terminator
Oh yeah.
plot where it's like if this didn't happen, the story couldn't even exist. It's like, oh, it was awesome. But I mean, let's kind of walk through it a little bit. We do get in the beginning Peter's fighting crime before school, and barely makes it in time for like the end of his group project. And the piece he brought with him is broken, but they do somehow still manage an A- out of the deal.
Yeah, because the other student, it had a weird echo back to something that happened earlier in my life, where I went to like some summer camp right before, at some point during high school. I don't remember precisely when, but we had like a group project going on, and there was the one kid that we kind of like put off, and then he ended up being the main person to like make the really good point in our presentation.
Yeah.
And as I'm watching, I'm like, oh, it's just like that one time at summer camp where like nobody cares about this guy. And then he's like, all right, so here we're gonna get an A- real quick because I'm just gonna read off this stuff.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that was awesome. It was like the unassuming character, the one that didn't really matter, is the one that saved the day for them. But we quickly get into some action right after that. I mean, it's like pretty much right away after that we see Norman with the interns. And he's like, by the way, I know I had you all working on these different projects and you thought Peter's wasn't very important and blah, blah, blah. It turns out with their powers combined,
yes,
it's Captain Stargate, right? Like they, if you put all these things they were working together or working on separately together, he basically builds an interstellar gate, a Stargate, if you will.
Yes.
Where he plans to pluck things from across the galaxy to help in the protection of New York or even Earth, right?
Yeah, and the weird part about that was I kept forgetting this is like MCU adjacent, because I'm like, this seems like a weird jump in technology. And then he's like, just like when Thor came and this happened and this happened. I was like, oh yeah, that stuff happened. Like some version of that has happened. So this isn't actually as leap in technology as it might seem, because like we already saw Iron Man, and they've alluded to the Sokovia Accords and Thor's here. It's like I kept kind of forgetting that this is an MCU adjacent project.
Yeah, and that it takes place when it does, because they haven't met Thanos, they haven't seen, they haven't met the Guardians of the Galaxy in this universe. They haven't had a lot of interstellar interactions, so it's like it's a big deal, but it's like it's a new thing. It's not. Whereas if you brought out something like this now, you'd be like, oh yeah, like that's a thing. I mean, the Guardians use something like that all the time to travel to different galaxies. It's but it's wild that like that's his idea, is like, you know what, I'm just going to harness the power of the stars here, all in the pursuit of protecting New York. Originally, he's saying it could even protect the world. We don't need the Avengers anymore, essentially, is what he's saying. So not only did we get in the last episode them alluding to creating more Spider-Men to help protect things, on top of that, Norman's been working on this big project the whole time where he can pull resources from anywhere in the galaxy. Pretty ambitious, but that's Norman Osborn, right?
Yeah, I never would have seen this plan coming. I thought it was going to be even the idea of like an army of Spider-Men, kind of like in actual Civil War, when you're like, oh, we're going to fight a bunch of super soldiers, and then that's not even the thing. It's like going into the finale, I was like, this is going to be lame if it's like, oh yeah, and this person gets powers and this person gets powers. And you mentioned Gamma, so obviously Amadeus Cho is going to become a version of the Hulk. And then none of that mattered. It was like, oh, actually, it's this interstellar thing that's more, like you said, akin to the Guardians of the Galaxy or Doctor Strange, anything, or aptly the Stargates.
Right. So, well, yeah, and they also, what I loved about the finale is it really didn't leave any threads from earlier in the show, but it created a lot more going forward. Like it did tie up all the loose ends, even at the very end there when they reveal that one of the interns was a hero of her own alongside Daredevil, and I had never heard of the character Finesse. I didn't know who that was, but that was a cool reveal because I was wondering the whole time, like, who was that? What was up with that intern sneaking into Norman's office? We never got closure on that.
Right.
And then we finally got it. Like she's working with Daredevil. But so they did so great at making everything matter, man. Like the interns, no, they weren't just there to find Peter Parker or to find Spider-Man. They were there to work on this giant project. Like if they were really all there just for Norman to find Spider-Man, that would have been kind of a leap, right? Like he went through that. But no, it turns out that it just happened that all the brilliant young minds, were brought together for a bigger reason than that, even. And everything they laid out comes to fruition. So I imagine next season, like we're gonna get like an Electro introduction. We're gonna get Green Goblin. We're gonna get all this stuff. Tombstone. Becoming fully Tombstone in appearance and in demeanor, and yeah, it was just really good, man. Like they didn't even have to do that. I would have kind of forgotten about a lot of the stuff, but they brought it back and tied it up. Like that, just even the intern part was crazy. Like that without that existing, the whole time travel thing, it doesn't. None of it happens. If it's not exactly like this. Like I love stuff like this, like even more so than I love the multiverse where anything's possible in these different places. I love time loops where it's like, if this doesn't happen, this can't happen. Like Terminator 2, like how does John Connor exist if Reese doesn't go back and make John Connor for John Connor, then just send Reese back in time? Like how? I love that sort of stuff. And to bring that into a seemingly children's cartoon was awesome. Like it's all the stuff I love that like X-Men and Spider-Man did when we were kids, but on an even grander scale, like making stuff that's not just for kids, that can appeal to adults. And man, some kids might not even get what happened in this episode. And
linked.
Dude, I loved it. And up to the last second, I'm like, wait a minute, are they what are they doing here? Oh, no way. No, that's the same Venom. Okay. So we get Norman introduces everyone to this Stargate. And right as he's about, they're all kind of hesitant. They're like, I don't know, man, this might not be a great idea. And he's like, well, a demonstration. Goes to open the portal, but right before he can open the portal, Doctor Strange's portal opens up.
Yeah,
he comes through.
I was like, oh, yes, that's what the portal looks like. That's weird, but cool.
Right. That was good. That was good because everyone was like, wait a minute. And he's like, I haven't even turned it on yet. But, Doctor Strange comes through and immediately Norman and Peter are like, hey, you're the guy that destroyed Midtown. Like, and he is just
I don't
lost.
know if any of you are.
Yeah, I don't know. What are you talking about? Right. I don't know anything about a high school or I've never been here before. And so I start thinking, and this is how good it was written, is I start thinking, well, this must be a Strange from a different universe then.
Or like, the first one was. Because Venom was different, must be from a different Earth. Right.
Maybe it's just not the same Doctor Strange we saw earlier. But no. I love it too. Then in the midst of all that, Norman's like, let's fire this thing up, man. Let's just get it going. All right. Forget this guy. Let's open this portal. Opens it up. And here comes the Venom thing. The Venom variant, the symbiote comes through. And then you start to piece it together. Like the gears start turning, right? You're like, wait a minute, Doctor Strange and the thing, but he doesn't hold on. But you still don't, your head isn't quite there yet. Like,
yep.
Okay, they're here.
I'm still in. Do all Venoms look like this?
Right. We're still here in this timeline, and it's like, how do we get to there? Because I'm thinking multiverse. I'm not thinking timeline. I'm not thinking time travel at all. I'm thinking there's just a bunch of variants. Like, that's odd that this is happening. But I didn't know where they were going with it. I'm like, what are they doing here? But as soon as he opens up that portal in the ground, I started to think like they came through a portal downways, right? In that first episode. And to have it play out this way, that not only would all the stuff in the beginning not have happened leading to this now, but Peter would have never been Spider-Man if it wasn't for Spider-Man existing, because he had to exist for them to take his blood to create the super spiders, which then goes through the portal. And so we're thinking it's a spider from another universe that bit him, kind of like in Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Right. But no, it's a spider from the future, created from your blood.
Yes.
Dude.
Yeah, it was a mind melter when because as soon as they show the school, it all clicked for me.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, I didn't even consider any of this. Never even crossed my mind. There really was no reason why I would have. But then I love when, to kind of catch anybody else who hasn't caught up, Doctor Strange goes, hey, wait a minute. To kind of like nod to like, hey, you know what this is, right?
Yeah, like he's putting it together. Like, this is why they know me. Like, it was, man, I just, and it's the fact that you didn't see it coming is just a credit to the creators, because like you said, it seemed like we knew where it was going. It seemed like, okay, maybe it's going to be a throwdown with a bunch of different people with powers or other Spider-Men or something like that. Like, that's what we're building towards. And it was nothing like that at all. Like, in fact, to make it that one of those spiders is what creates the original Spider-Man was genius. Yeah. That was so awesome. But as awesome as that was, that's not even the end of the episode. Like, we get so much more after the main events of the episode. So they get him, they eventually get the Venom variant back to where it needs to be. They close the portal. The device is broken and everything is fine. Everything is safe. But here, I haven't even referred to my notes, but I've got them here.
Well, I'll even say that going into this episode, I thought maybe we're not going to see the Green Goblin, but maybe we're going to, because Osborn won't take on that role, but maybe we'll see like the Hobgoblin, because that's where all of the technology nods were kind of pointing to.
Yeah.
I guess in my mind, there was two ways it could have gone. Either Army of Spider-Men or some goblin was going to be revealed this episode. And to have none of that happen is very interesting.
To have none of it happen and then still be so satisfying, like that's what was great about it. Like, so all the madness ensues. That's all done with. Strange and Spidey save the day and close down the portal. Afterward, Peter decides, like, I think I need to separate myself from this Norman Osborn guy. I don't really trust him at this point. He's a little out there. He's going too far. Maybe I need to kind of do my own thing, right? Very, very Miles Morales of him. He's going to do his own thing. And, but he loved working on projects at Oscorp. Like that was something that he really enjoyed, interning there and working with the other people. And he's like, man, I wish there was a way to keep this going. And he and Harry get to talking and it's like, of course Harry's going to have a startup, right? Like that's what billionaire sons probably do. They have their own startup, right? Yep. So they're like, well, let's start our own thing. We don't have to even work with Oscorp. We don't have to be associated with all that. We'll do our own thing and bring all those interns over here. So Harry like contacts all of the interns to come on over. And most of them are like, yeah, we'll come join up. We thought Norman was a little wacky. We'll come do this thing instead. And except for what's the guy's name that sticks with Oscorp?
Amadeus Cho, I think.
Yes, and you kind of knew he was very self-serving, right? And throughout the series, kind of narcissistic, and it was like he's out for himself. So you could see him doing that. Like, I'm gonna stick with the big guns. I'm gonna stay right here with this super powerful guy.
Yeah, he always felt like there's a guy in Andor who's like he has tailored his own suit as part of the Empire.
Yeah, yeah.
He felt like the end. He felt like that character in the show. He's like he's the guy who's just like trying to make it as far as he can in the organization that he's in.
Yeah, that was a great character in Andor. So everyone else kind of joins up, but Jean, is that her name?
Oh yes,
Jean.
That kept throwing me off because I knew that she wasn't Jane Foster, but she had a very like 60s, 70s era haircut that Jane Foster had. So I kept being like, is this? But no, it's not. So that's the one thing. I had never heard of Finesse either, so I never had any connection to like, who is this person? Why is she here? Because everybody else is somebody I recognize. I even found out later that Pearl is apparently like a submariner, like Atlantis.
Really?
Character. I don't know anything about her, but apparently she is.
That's crazy.
That is from the like Namor area of the Marvel universe. She must be a more modern character.
Interesting. Probably Finesse is as well. Like I wouldn't. Probably. Yeah, I could see that. I think, and a lot of these versions of the characters too, like the lizard that we get in this series is similar to the Doc Ock that we get in the Spider-Verse, right? It's a female version, but with similar attributes, the missing arm. So it's like, and they're all starting out like pretty good, most of these people. And then one of the other characters, I don't remember their name now, that will become Electro at some point, or could. It could be different in this version of reality, but one of the other interns is a would-be Electro character as well.
Okay, I think I saw his name on the list that Osborn or that Harry sent to, but I guess I don't remember ever seeing him. But that might just be I was looking at my phone at the wrong moments and just didn't register that he was even there.
Yeah, I think the only person that they might not have even shown, but I think they did make it clear that the only person that stuck around at Oscorp was Amadeus, right? Like I'm pretty sure, which made sense. It made sense. Everyone else seemed to be a little distraught by what Norman had done. So, that character, Jean, is revealed to be Finesse and working alongside Daredevil. Like I said, I love that they tied up that loose end, because I was wondering for like 6 episodes why the girl was sneaking in. I thought maybe she was more villainous, like maybe she was up to something, but makes sense. Like, she's the one that called in Daredevil, like she's the one that was on the inside, like something's not right here. And so same night that Daredevil's coming in, she's trying to sneak her way up there. So I thought that was pretty cool.
I want more of this Osborn. I don't know in what form, but I want more of this Osborn. I loved the voice actor did such a great job. I like just the change of your expectations of him. He's still evil, but he's not the same evil. I want more of this, and him finding what he finds at the end.
Yes,
I just so happened to be kind of digging a little bit into Spider-Punk, the Hobie Brown that's also in the Spider-Verse movie, and like ironically, in his world, Osborn is the president, and he has a Venom symbiote. And then
interesting.
And then in his introduction, Hobie uses his guitar to take his head off. And then in a later limited series, Osborn is inside of like I went to Craig from the Mutant Ninja Turtles first. But I guess it's very similar to Zola, just has his head inside of a robot, but the head is half Venom and then half his face. And I'm like, I wonder if that's the direction we're going in, where Osborn is going to be the Venom of this world, and maybe Harry will be the Green Goblin because Harry will get betrayed in some way. I don't know, but just coming out of this, there was so many like machinations of like, where could this be going, and how is this going to be twisted if we get a season 2, which I hope we do. I mean, maybe they've already announced that, but I don't know.
They have. So they announced. they announced 2 and 3.
Oh, Jesus. Cool.
Yeah, 2 and 3 are in the works. I guess they're already doing animatics for season 2 like now. So
okay, cool.
That's good to know. That means it's all written, it's all scripted, and they're working on like the voice actors and the animatics. So that's awesome. Maybe we'll get that next year. I'm glad. I'm so glad to find out that they didn't just leave all these cliffhangers and then we'll just never get an answer. I love that we're going to get more. And this is not a series that I was not one I wasn't expecting to care that much about it. 2, I wasn't expecting to like want it to continue, you know. I figured it'd be probably a one and done because remember it was originally called Freshman Year, and I figured it was just going to be like that. Like it was going to show Peter and it was going to be MC, and it was planned to be the version we know, the MCU version we know during his freshman year. But I'm glad we got this because I feel like the other would have been as boring as I imagined it would be. Yeah. This was so much better. Like getting to know all these new characters and versions of characters we already knew. It kept it fun every episode. They're like introducing people, moving the story along. It was really well crafted. And Lonnie is probably my favorite character out of the whole series. Like I love this character.
A follow-up question I was going to ask was, how do you feel about Lonnie's storyline?
I love it, man, because for one, you care about him. For 2, right now he's a good guy, but he's in a gang, right? It's so crazy. He's in a gang, but he's a good guy because, I mean, he helped out Spider-Man. He helped save the day. Right. But also he feels obligated to this gang. He's obviously putting his old life kind of behind him by throwing out his jacket in the final sequence there. Like, I love the symbolism of that. Like, but it's like, he's still a good dude. You know, he's a good dude deep down. He doesn't want to kill anybody. He doesn't want to hurt anybody. Didn't want to attack the cops. But we do know he's going through more of a transformation from the chemicals. Yeah. Like we see the white splotches on his fingers at the end. So it's like does it kind of more take over his
psyche,
brain? Yeah. In a way that it's kind of given his body enhancements. Will it then kind of take over the way he thinks as well? Like that will that lead us to like a more villainous Tombstone? But I thought it was crazy. I liked the turn of the like Big Donovan running off scared, and then Lonnie, the guy who didn't even want to be in the gang, that felt forced to be in the gang, is like, somebody's got to step up. Now he's the leader of the 110th. It's a wild turn of events.
Yeah. I'm trying to even remember. There was something else on my mind as you were saying that, but I can't think of what it is now. What I was going to say is it's interesting. I feel like we're finally reaching like a golden age for Marvel animation, where it's like DC was always given like their animation is top tier. And while I don't necessarily care for the What If series, X-Men, Spider-Man, both were like just back-to-back successes.
Yeah. Yeah. And Marvel's animation has come a long way. You're right. It's like, I feel like they had some great stuff, obviously, in the 90s, because that created a lot of Marvel fans, just those Fox TV shows. And then, so obviously they were good, and they were more complex than other cartoons. Like, that's what made them better for me. That's why at 11 or 12, I was still watching them, because, you know, it wasn't like the little kid stuff. It was like an in-between thing. I like the more complex storylines. It made me, you know, but then it feels like, I mean, there's been here and there some good stuff out of Marvel through the years, but most for me throughout the late 90s, 2000s, 2010s, they just were not on par with DC and what they were doing. The DC animated films and series starting all the way back with Batman the Animated Series and just continuing all the way to now, has been awesome.
Yes.
So it's great to see Marvel stepping up now. When I didn't think there was any, catching up to DC, it feels like maybe they're on their way with stuff like this.
Yeah. I'm happy with the fact that we're getting multiple seasons of these shows too, because they could just be one and dones. Going into this, I would have assumed this is a one and done, it'll be fine. But then they built up this like mythology that made me want more, which is great.
Completely unexpected.
Yeah,
completely. Big final reveal of the episode.
Oh, I forgot about this. Yes. Okay.
Right, we've had all these different versions, right, of Peter, whether it be the Tobey Maguire version or the Andrew Garfield version, whose parents were murdered and like had done something, like they were into something, and that was kind of like the big secret to be, like the big mystery to be solved. In this universe, I just assumed, since he said his mother died, I just assumed his father died as well in this universe, and he was living with Aunt May. But we get the reveal at the end that Papa Parker is incarcerated.
Yes.
He's very much alive and incarcerated.
Another one of those everything clicks into a place moments where it's like, oh, I guess he did indicate, like he said, my mom died. And I assumed the same thing, but then you go, well, I guess actually he didn't say, on the topic of my parent or on topic of my mom, both my parents died. He just said my mom died. Didn't even think about it. And then all of a sudden it's that another full circle moment where you're like, oh, I didn't know who she was going to go visit, but that makes other things that were said make sense.
Yeah, when they showed the jail, I'm like, this is going to be another Doc Ock scene or something, right? Like, that's the person that we know that's in jail. So it made sense. Or, maybe I was going to finally get my Kingpin reveal. But no, it's Peter's dad. And it's like, so many questions now. Why is Peter's dad in jail? What did he do? Like, is he actually a bad guy? Has he been framed like Barry
Allen's dad?
Barry Allen's dad, yeah. Like, what's going on there? Has Peter visited his dad? Does he know his dad's in jail? Like, that's another thing. Like, does he know? Does he know why he's in there? Anything. Like, a lot of questions here, man. A lot of questions. And I'm like excited for season 2 to reveal some of this stuff. But yeah, all the stuff that they were building up at the end of the season there for next season, did not expect them then to also have this crazy big reveal. Like, at the end, it was like, oh, they've done enough reveals. Like, there's a vigilante. These characters may become these characters later. Tombstone is leading a gang now. Like, they set everything up, and then it was like, boom, Peter's dad's in jail.
Yeah.
Who is this guy? What's he done? Oh.
I forgot about that till you were like, and then there's the last reveal.
Dude, crazy finale. Yes. Like, it was nonstop reveals.
Yes. Yeah, nonstop.
By the end,
changing your perspective moments.
By the end, you're just left reeling. I will tell you, I wanted to say this because I was told I must. So I was going to have Steve Banvard on. He asked to come on for episode 9 or 10. I had given 9 to my daughter, and I said, I'll bring you on for 10, and we'll do the finale. And he is not available on weekdays. And I said, Ryan is available on weekdays. I said, Steve, I'm going to go with Ryan. And he said, just let him know that he is a poor man, Steve Banvard.
That's true.
That he is just a stand-in. And he wanted me to let you know that. Dude, it could have been a 2.5-hour episode. And instead, Ryan and I get it done in under 40. But yeah, Steve wanted me to make sure that you knew that you were just the fill-in, and that you're a poor man, Steve. That's literally word for word. So I had to say that.
We could have given
or
you
else,
every single like reference. Like,
oh yeah,
well, actually, this thing is actually from Spider-Man 143, and this thing is
yep,
actually an allusion to Web of Spider-Man 5.
yes, yep. And then he'd bring in movie quotes, and he'd have probably brought his own clips to play. Steve
I have a
is
presentation ready.
he is a documentarian, dude. If anyone ever makes that Uncanny X-Cast documentary that I've always wanted to make, I feel like he's the one closest to being able to pull it off. Like, he has every reference that you could. I bet you, on a whim, he could recall specific episodes, timestamps. Like, his brain is insane.
Yes.
I don't know what else to say. Steve Banvard, insane brain. It's kind of scary. But I'm glad that you were here, because I was happy that we got to do episode 2. It was kind of cool. I did an episode with my daughter, and then an episode with you, and then to end the show, I did an episode with my daughter, and then an episode with you.
There we go.
Yeah, and I felt like having you on was perfect because of all the like early predictions we made, and like wondering what was going to happen where, and like we were discussing all these new characters and which ones we liked and whatnot. And Lonnie was fresh kind of take. It seemed like a stand-in for Flash Thompson, but turned out to be something completely different. Mm-hmm. And I just love that that you and I got to reconvene and discuss the stuff. So so thanks to Steve Banvard for not being available. Yeah.
You can just have him be the entire round table. It will just be you and him talking episode by episode in like a round table episode.
Why am I even necessary in that scenario?
You just give him the access to the stream for 90 minutes, and he'll just break it down.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Marvel Plus. My name is Steve Banvard. I am your host. Yeah. I feel like he could handle the round table.
You're just driving, and he's just talking to himself for 90 minutes. Or
I'm just there to make sure that the show stays on the rails, and then listen in. Yeah. Oh man. But yeah, dude, fantastic series.
Yes.
Fantastic person to discuss it with. Thank you for being here. Like I said, I'm so glad we could do it, and I can't wait to have you back, man. I can't wait for season 2. So we can do this again and talk about these characters again.
Yes.
But a lot more stuff coming up to talk about. We got Daredevil soon, real soon, like next week soon. Daredevil Born Again starts, and then all kinds of other stuff. Thunderbolts in May, Fantastic Four in July. It's going to be a wild year.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that we started at the low point, because I saw Brave New World. It was okay, but I know we can do far better than that. Actually, this with just its little cameos felt so much more like a Marvel thing than Brave New World did, even though Brave New World had a few cameos. So like this felt like this is the MCU. You're seeing Iron Man, you're seeing Daredevil, you're seeing Doctor Strange. And yeah, hopefully it's all uphill from here. Yeah,
I will withhold my determination for Captain America Brave New World. I'm doing a live show towards the end of next month, where I will be reviewing that show live, or reviewing that film live. I will say that just a little tease here. I thought it was good. It's not my favorite Captain America film, but I thought it was pretty solid. It wasn't, I think, and I'll just say this, and you tell me if you agree. Okay. One of the biggest mistakes that they made with that movie is revealing Red Hulk.
Oh, yes.
In the trailer. Like, the whole movie was building to Red Hulk, and you don't get a whole lot of Red Hulk. It's mainly just at the end, the finale. So, if that would have been something that was actually a secret, I think the reception of the movie would be completely different. I think people would have been like, what? It was Red Hulk. This was secretly a sequel to the Hulk. Like, crazy. Like, I think it would have been a huge hit.
Yeah.
But now we've got like mixed reviews on it because I feel like that could have made the film. That could have made it.
Yes.
You know, you for one, you build it up in the trailers like it was going to be a lot of Red Hulk in this film. Number two, you revealed like something that the film builds up over time. So it seemed like that was supposed to be kind of a secret or something you were hoping might happen, but that you didn't know for sure was going to happen. You know, it's like Captain America wielding Mjolnir. It's like the thing that you're like, oh man, we want to see it happen, but we don't know if it'll actually happen. And then, you know, or Avengers Assemble. You're like, you know, he's going to say it at some point, maybe. And then he does.
Yep.
But they don't give it away in the trailer. That would be crazy.
Right. Yeah. The only thing I'll leave it at is I do feel like there were points when I'm watching it where I'm like, I just feel like you're not respecting the intelligence of the audience. Like they mentioned Thunderbolt Ross's daughter like 6 or 7 times, and you probably could have cut out half those references and it would have built to whatever they wanted it to build to. But I was like, stop reminding us that Betty exists. Like, I get that she's probably going to show up at some point in this movie, maybe.
Yeah.
But or you just want to remind us this is the same Thunderbolt Ross that you know from the other 4 or 5 appearances he's had. It's like, I get it.
Yeah.
Just stop. Like, and then there were just other things that I can't point directly to, where I just remember watching it going, okay, you're belaboring this point. I get what you're trying to get at. I just don't feel like you're respecting the audience to be paying attention when you were in a movie theater. Like I'm watching this. I don't have my phone out. I'm not on a second screen. I'm watching the movie, and I feel like you're insulting my intelligence in a couple. Places.
It's tough. It was a tough ask for the creators, because it's like, we want to give this to an audience that might not have watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier, might not have been following along, you know, since we saw the last Captain America. So how do you've got to remind them, for one, about the Incredible Hulk and that storyline, which is really old. Some people skipped it altogether. Or forgot it existed. So you got to remind them about that storyline. Then you've got a new actor playing Thunderbolt Ross. So you have to remind them that this is the same guy. Then you've got to remind everyone of all this, like, why is Isaiah Bradley important? Like, you know, for the audience, it's like, this is a brand new character. We who watched Falcon and Winter Soldier thought like that was a fantastic piece of that series. We're hoping to see more from him, and we got to, and it was awesome. But it's like, these writers have to find a way to explain to everybody who this guy is. Although all of us, it's just like they're just retreading the same stuff for us who have been following the whole time. Probably not. It probably didn't feel as the audience who didn't follow the entire time probably didn't feel as talked down to.
Maybe.
But you're right. They could have made it so much better for the people who have been following along, who have been hanging on every word and every storyline, that you didn't need to keep reminding us. Like, we know that's why we're here. We want to see, like, that's why we're here. I wouldn't be in the seat if I hadn't been following along.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point with Isaiah Bradley. I want to real quick just say, love that actor. He is comic book character royalty. He was Martian Manhunter. Carl Lumbly, love him. I want to see him in as many things as possible. He's always great. And there's an episode of the podcast hosted by the guy that played Lex Luthor. I'm forgetting his name, but he has a roundtable with the Justice League actors, and Carl Lumbly just comes across as such a sweet person, and happy to see him in this movie. He is great.
We have a guest. We have a past guest, Maggie, whose dad was like college roommates with Lumley.
That's awesome.
I know. So it was a cool little 9 degrees of separation or whatever there is there.
Yeah.
But I love that guy, and I hope we get to see more, dude. I'm still holding out hope for like a a red, white, and blue Captain America like backstory where we see what he did that he got in so much trouble for. Like, I would like to see that play out on screen. I feel like you could do that story.
Give us that limited series.
Yeah.
4 episodes. That's all it is. Just give us that limited series.
Yeah. I think that would be perfect, man. I would love to see that. I've been wanting to see that since we saw him in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Yeah. All right. Well, I think we covered the episode pretty well and a whole bunch of other MCU stuff. So, again, thank you for being here and taking time out of your parenting day.
Yes.
And I hope to see you again real soon, man. A lot of stuff to cover coming up. So I'm sure I'll be tapping you for some commentary here.
Love to be here. Happy to be on, and thank you for having me again.
All right. Thanks, man. Talk to you later.
Yep.
All right, my friends, that is going to do it for the discussion with Ryan, and that is going to do it for the episode, and that is going to do it for your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Thank you for tagging along, for showing up for the last 10 episodes. I wouldn't do this if you guys weren't listening, so I really do appreciate it so much. If you want more Marvel Plus, go check out the Marvel Plus Patreon at patreon.com/Marvel Plus. Video versions of every podcast, behind-the-scenes podcasts, extra podcasts, MCU, classic movie reviews, and so much more. So go check that out if you're interested. Don't forget to rate and review the podcast wherever you can. That's Spotify, that's Apple Podcasts, whatever it's called, iTunes. Email the show if you're interested in being a guest, maybe for Daredevil or for one of the upcoming films or series that we have coming out this year. Marvel Plus Podcast at gmail.com. Yeah, what a fantastic series that was. What an awesome, unexpected 10 episodes of wow. I didn't expect it. I didn't know I wanted it. I got it. I'm so glad that I did. I'm so glad that the series exists and that we're getting several more seasons down the road. I'd love to hear what you guys think. As always, though, reach out anywhere on social media at Real Brett Scott, or come join the Marvel Plus Facebook group. Just search Marvel Plus Podcast on Facebook, and then we can talk about it over there. A lot of great conversations happen over there, so let's have another one. Let's talk about your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Let's get some other people to watch it. I feel like a lot of people slept on this series and still need to catch up. So tell all your geeky friends, not only about the show, but about the Marvel Plus Podcast. All right, that's going to do it. As I alluded to in the episode, I am doing a live show March 22nd at, I believe, 12:45 p.m. Could be wrong about that. It might be 11:45 a.m. But I will get exact details, and I'll post them on... actually, I've already posted them on the Marvel Plus Facebook group. So go over there and check that out. We're doing a live show, and we're going to be reviewing Captain America Brave New World live. If you aren't able to catch it live, if you aren't able to catch the live video stream, it will find its way onto this feed eventually. But you don't want to miss the live stream, man. That's the fun part. We have a live audience there who chimes in and is part of the conversation. I can't wait to do it. I love doing this. I do about 3 cons a year, and I love traveling up to Cleveland and doing the Cleveland Fan Expo. I'm sorry, Fan Expo Cleveland, as it's called. But yeah, we'll have some familiar faces and a brand new audience. Usually a great audience size up there, so I can't wait to see all the new faces and maybe some returning faces from last year, because we met some great people there last year. But yeah, as I said, I do 3 of these every year, and this is kind of the first one of the year to kick it off. Yeah, come check out the live show, and that's going to do it. That's going to do it for today. Thank you guys so much. As always, my name is Brett Scott, and this has been Marvel Plus.